A summary of the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Web3 Books Club with a free audio and video book. An overview of the 7 Habits of Highly Successful People. The Principles of Effective People by Stephen R. Covey. It's a quick read written by Web3 Books Club. The narration is provided by team of Web3 Books Club. The goal of every individual is to succeed. What sets some apart from others is what makes them succeed. Fail. In the first instance, what is success? There is a possibility that some people will find it a successful financial career. In some cases, they may find themselves empty. In other areas, such as their personal lives, when it comes to developing relationships or personal relationships, an effective approach, by studying literature from 200 years ago, a concept of success was found by Covey. There has been significant change over the years. In contrast, success was determined by character. Integrity, humility, and respect are ethical principles. The courage of the pre-1920 personality is now a key factor in the success. Public image is an aspect of ethics. Finding your true self requires a certain attitude and personality. Success. True change won't be possible unless you see it. Shortcuts are commonplace. A better approach would be to address the conditions underlying the problem, rather than the problem itself. Transform yourself and adopt the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Shift your paradigm and allow yourself to be transformed. The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Chapter 1: Principles and Paradigms. Humanity begins by looking inward and attempting to create a life on social media that reflects who we are from the inside out. A person's social media profile is viewed as a simple highlight reel of their life when they are happy and near perfection. However, there may be times when we need to change our approach. Covey encourages his readers to examine their values in life rather than focus on their appearances on the outside. Imagining that everything was taken from you tomorrow, what would be your most cherished desire? It is unlikely that social media followers will be on the list, so what strategies can be used to identify these values? If you want to improve your life, you must improve yourself from the inside out. Before changing your life, you must identify the fundamental habits and beliefs at the core of your character. Maybe your principles serve as a compass to guide you towards your goals. There are a number of well-known principles that can guide our actions and contribute to our success, including fairness, honesty, and integrity. But others, such as selfishness, are not so well known. As nature's laws dictate that you reap what you sow, it's critical to reflect on principles that lead to success. Determine if your character's guide is working with nature or against it. This is similar to how a map of a city guides your route around. Our paradigms provide us with instructions in life. A paradigm is a subjective basis for how we view the world. The paradigm we hold about the world shapes everything we understand about it. For example, a person who has a negative paradigm will see a rainy day as gloomy and an inconvenience to his or her day. However, a person with a positive paradigm will see a rainy day as an opportunity for growth that gives nature the sustenance it needs to survive. In order to make lasting changes, it is imperative that we shift our paradigm. By shifting our paradigms, we can achieve this. Change our character. This shift in character is why it is so crucial to change our habits and behaviors. Discover which paradigms you have by recognizing and monitoring them. It's holding you back from reaching your full potential. Stephen Covey, the author of The Power of Goals, experienced a paradigm shift while riding the subway in New York City one morning. Suddenly, a man entered with his rowdy children, disrupting the peace and serenity of a peaceful scene in which most people were either reading or relaxing their eyes. Enraged, Covey asked the man, taking an irate and exasperated tone. The man responded that he needed to take action to control his children. However, they were all in shock since their mother had just passed away an hour earlier. Covey quickly changed his paradigm from one of irritation to one of compassion and a desire to assist. Therefore, paradigm shifts can help you see a situation from a completely different perspective. Response times won't all be as instantaneous as the one Kobe encountered on the subway that morning. All of these factors can have a powerful impact on the quality of your life. In contrast to social media, this book will assist you in identifying those qualities once you have identified your biggest weaknesses. As you view your problems from different angles, you will be able to figure out where they come from. Resolving weaknesses from the inside out and changing them from the inside out. By improving your habits, you can improve your quality of life. In Chapter 2, habit number 1 is to be. Imagining life as a book can help you be more productive. There are no pages on the page. Would you want your own story to say what you think it should say if you were able to write it? What would the last chapter of your life look like if you died today? Is there a chance that the book would contain stories of someone despite their physical environment? In contrast, would it contain stories of someone who accomplished nothing due to their environment? To begin with, ownership is a key principle. By doing this, we are able to gain control of our lives. Others are often blamed for the situation. This is our life status. As a result, it becomes futile, and it isn't my fault. The events that occurred were beyond my control. When we are in a sticky situation, we commonly use the following phrases. As soon as we begin to realize ownership, as we adopt new principles and as our world begins to change, we begin to admit that we let ourselves go. However, we also start taking responsibility for our successes. This paradigm shift begins with being actively involved in our lives. Proactive people take action. As an example, proactive individuals do not wait for a diagnosis before making a lifestyle change towards a healthier one. Their boss doesn't have to give them anything. Instead of giving them instructions, problems are identified and solutions are devised. People in the community are actively listened to, defend their lives without waiting for a fight. As a first step towards effective communication, to assist you in identifying the difference between proactive and reactive people, think of this circle as a circle of concern. Worries represent everything you are concerned about. The topic of, it's possible that you're having trouble paying your bills, traveling across the country or flying there. An influential part of the circle of concern is a circle of influence that encompasses everything. There are a few things you can do to make a difference. A reactive person focuses on the circle surrounding them. Instead of being proactive, proactive individuals are concerned. The circle of influence should be emphasized. In order to do so, they must focus on the things that they can control. People who are proactive about change shrink their organizations. An outline of the concerned circle. Starting with ownership is one way to begin. Language plays a key role. It is common for proactive people to use words such as I will, can, as for me, I prefer it, whereas reactive people use it, I am unable to do so. As long as people are reactive, I must do so. Their belief is that they are not responsible, observing and responding to them. Rather than saying things like that, it irritates me so much. Put your focus on what you can control. Emotions, become reactive instead of reactive. A proactive approach. A blank page becomes apparent once you realize it. It's time to start writing your book according to your wishes. Rather than focusing on problems, focus on solutions. Blaming external factors for your problems, obstacles, change your behavior and start reacting differently. You are facing problems in your life. Own up to your responsibilities and take responsibility. The beginning. Add stories to your pages. Taking action by someone. The second habit of Chapter 3 begins. Keeping the end in mind. If you were to build a house, what materials would you use? As a starting point, how would you proceed? The first thing you should do is visualize what you would like. A house that looks right. Choosing the layout of your home is your responsibility. Once that is done, all the details can be worked out. This would be followed by construction workers. To begin building, you need a blueprint. What mistakes could have been made without this blueprint? It could be done. They might have forgotten something of importance, such as the staircase. If you had a blueprint for your life, what would it look like? How do you plan to achieve your goals? Your planning should be based on what you want to accomplish. Every project needs this to succeed. Life includes you. Here's where direction comes into play. Arrives. In order to achieve the end, you need to start at the beginning. Orientation. The direction of a project is similar to that of building a house. Success depends on it. It takes more than diligent work to be effective. It is their expectation that success will come to them. As a result, they have a strong sense of direction. What does that look like in life? Getting there. Consider 30 days as a starting point. Your family and friends will be able to contact you. The funeral you are attending. If they asked you what you wanted them to say, what would you say? How do they describe you? It was a good life you lived. Determine your goals by determining what you want to achieve. Describe yourself in the words of your friends and family. Your life becomes clearer when you realize what it is all about. A focal point. Your focus may be on your family. In some cases, the focus is on money, while others are on work. Self-absorbed. Imagine your life coming to an end by imagining it. Living your life the way you want can be determined. Answer these questions as accurately as possible. Make a statement of your personal mission, towards which we must first take action. The second habit should be implemented. The purpose of your mission statement is to serve, to guide you on your journey and serve as a compass. Ensure your personal safety by taking the necessary steps. A successful and happy life. Writing a mission statement, however, can be difficult. There aren't any shortcuts to success. A night's sleep, taking time, patience, and a deep commitment will be necessary. An introspective approach. But when writing a blueprint, several tasks need to be completed. Reformulations. Your personal statement may look like this if you imagine it. You can think of it as your life blueprint. Here are some things you can do to get started. Intention and purpose. The purpose of each brick is the same. As you build a house, you should take the following actions. Help you achieve your goals. Goals you want to achieve. The third habit in Chapter 4 is to put. Let's start with the basics now that you've identified your values and principles. What can you do to begin taking action? Follow them as a guideline. As a result of incorporating habit number 3, the first thing to do is, what is the frequency of your planning? Time is spent on things that don't matter at the end of the week. Don't waste your time on unimportant things. It feels like you don't have any control over the situation. Meetings and telephone calls. Interruptions on a daily basis that hinder your productivity. Getting your true goals accomplished. Consider incorporating time into your plan. However, most managers lack management skills, and emphasis is placed on efficiency and techniques. It's not effective, so what do you do about it? The following. Make the most of your resources by prioritizing them. The most significant tasks are completed first. Putting everything else aside, let's get started. After those tasks are completed, the process may seem straightforward, but you need to be careful. There may be times when you have difficulty. Make a list of the most important tasks and prioritize them. Time-wasting activities. There is a tool available from Kobe that can assist you. Organize your time accordingly. It is much more effective to use a matrix instead of a spreadsheet. Make a list of what needs to be done. Complete the task. Organize your tasks according to their urgency. By combining importance and value, you create a matrix of 2x2. In Quadrant 1, tasks are centered around important and urgent. Despite the fact that this seems to be a critical issue, this quadrant is for tasks that require more precision, things beyond our control, such as dealing with crises the right way. The house is a deadline-driven project. There is a place for both burning down and burning up. The second quadrant focuses on tasks that require a lot of effort, not urgent but significant. Due to its critical nature, this quadrant is the most relevant. These are the most significant tasks. We consider it a priority. Building is one of these tasks. Relationships or future planning. It is imperative to adhere to these principles. It won't happen overnight. Take action that will make a difference. Focus on building on what you've already accomplished. Placed in Quadrant 2. If you want to improve your skills, for example, establishing a relationship is worth the time. Take a friend or family member along for the ride. The house, rather than listening to music. My favorite podcasts, tasks in Quadrant 3 are related too. They are not significant, but they are urgent. Our attention is interrupted by these tasks, meetings or phone calls during the day. Prioritizing tasks is something you may find helpful if you find yourself doing so. 3 quadrants. As a result, you respond to tasks that are not urgent, in accordance with others' priorities. It can lead to several problems if you don't do it yourself. Consequences such as short-term focus, feeling out of control of your life. The 4th quadrant focuses on tasks that are technical in nature, insignificant. These tasks include those that are urgent. Unlike anything else, they are a complete waste of time. Watching an entire Netflix series, someday, scrolling through social media mindlessly. In the workplace, the completion of these tasks leads to a fulfilled life. People get fired because of dependence. Job-related. Considering Quadrant 2, why should we pay attention to it? As previously mentioned, the most significant tasks are those listed here. We see them as builders. Interrelationships, planning, exercising, and preparing all go together. Your must-haves, gratitude, you set them aside because you think they aren't worthwhile. They take up too much of your time. What can you do to make time for them? Say no to other activities. Don't do anything that seems like a clever idea. Learn how to deal with the urgent situation at the time. Effective delegation. Prioritizing Quadrant 2 is the first step. Approach your tasks from this perspective, an insider's view. As a foundation, you have a solid foundation. When problems arise, principles must be followed. They begin to seem like pieces of a puzzle to you. Difference between a whole and a whole itself. When it comes to shopping, for instance, during the course of the center manager's meeting, Covey realized that building relationships was a priority for managers. It was imperative to work with store owners, in addition to having a positive impact. A small percentage of their budget was spend time on it. Managers instead spend most of their time. Tasks in Quadrant 1, such as taking phone calls and responding to emails, report writing and attending meetings, changes that need to be implemented. Managers spend a third of their time on management. Relationship building with stores. It had a tremendous impact on owners and their businesses. There was an increase in satisfaction among managers. Lease revenue and rental revenue. Quadrant 2 was prioritized by the managers. Their perceptions shifted as a result. Considering Quadrant 1 as a whole, I refuse to accept the pieces of the puzzle. Unimportant tasks. To begin implementing habits, click here. Creating is the most effective way to get started. Identify your own matrix. You've been working on tasks in Quadrant 2, a neglectful attitude. Work on Quadrants 2 and 3. Put your writing on a priority list and begin writing. Affirmations. The 4th habit of Chapter 5 is to think as soon as. During times of dog-eat-dog competition, competitive ruthlessness is the theme. Getting something requires lying and cheating. Exactly what you need. If that's the case, then so be it. Do you agree? Do we actually live in a world where everything is dog-eat-dog? You're lying and cheating. You're doing something against your principles, aren't you? Integrity and honesty. It is unfortunate that this mentality persists. It is a characteristic that many people in today's society possess. It is believed that in order to win, you must become a loser. However, what if I told you that life doesn't work that way? That's the way it must be. Rather than being a struggle, life can be an adventure. Competitive environment. By creating a win-win situation, both parties can benefit. A win-win mentality. It is possible to establish successful relationships. Relations of interdependence. It might mean adopting a win-win mindset. Humanity's paradigm shift. Involvement. There are actually 6 paradigms. The explanation is given by Covey. There is a win-win paradigm in the first place, a win-win situation for both parties. By creating a plan, problems can be resolved. An agreement that benefits both parties. Both parties are satisfied with the outcome. In the second paradigm, there is a win-lose situation. In the event that I win, what do people think? People use their power when you lose. Win-lose. Influence is based on position and credentials to achieve their goals by using others. In the third paradigm, there is a lose-win scenario. If I lose, what do people think? When people try to please you, you win and lose. In order to gain popularity, they seek approval from others. The acceptance of. As for the fourth paradigm, it is a lose-lose one. Both people lose as a result. There is always a win-lose situation between two people. A stubborn, determined individual with a strong sense of ego. Negotiations take place between people. There can never be a win-win situation. In a nutshell, in the fifth paradigm, there is a win-win situation. The majority of people don't give a damn about what's going on. As long as the other party is satisfied with the outcome, they win as a result. A win-win paradigm or a no-win paradigm is the final paradigm. Mindset for deals. A situation in which people believe that there is mutual benefit. It is not possible to make a beneficial agreement. When trying to make a deal, there will be no success. Solve the problem. Being yourself is the most significant thing. Searching for one that stays in accordance with your values. In this example, we can see how the principle works. A principle of abundance is an abundance. Incorporates a mentality of abundance that means you have more than you need. There is more than enough for everyone. Greetings to all those who do not have an abundance of resources. Instead, they have a scarcity mentality. If you win, you will have a winning mentality. If one person loses, then another must lose. Phrases. This town isn't spacious enough for them. The mentality for both of us. You will eventually succeed if you think win-win. Build positive relationships. You'll end up in relationships. Instead of weakening one party, strengthen both. Take one step at a time. Consider this exercise as a starting point. This mindset can be implemented in a number of ways. In order to do this, we must identify a relationship that exists. What do you have that might benefit from an upgrade? A win-win situation. Put yourself in the other person's shoes. Take a look at your shoes and write down the solutions. A win over another person would be considered a victory. Write down what you consider a win now. Come up with a solution that works. Ensure mutually beneficial wins. Both parties. The fifth habit is in Chapter 6. Understand first, then be acknowledged. Consider visiting an optometrist and inform the doctor of your condition. Having difficulty seeing. It is a sign that he is far away from others. Eyeglasses are taken off by the optometrist. You are handed them and told to take them. Try these. They've worked for me for years. You should be able to use them. There are no questions asked and no tests are taken. A simple solution is offered by the doctor. Most likely, that won't help. That doctor wouldn't be on your list of doctors to return to. It's impossible to trust him. Think about what it would be like to go through. Life is struggling through a difficult time. When a loved one dies, there is a divorce. An employee's job is lost. When you need advice, who do you turn to? Doesn't know what it's like to be in your shoes. You might be able to understand what you're saying. Throughout, the person who understands your situation. The situation is understood by someone who is familiar with it. Obviously, your trust is in people who listen to you and take your concerns seriously. Their advice is respected by you. It doesn't matter if it's a doctor or a friend. It's wise to trust people who know what they're doing. In the process of, it is through understanding that we can gain a deeper understanding. Take notes. Your doctor would listen to you if he listened to you. Instead of trying to help you, we know how to do it better. Giving you a random pair of glasses for your problems to be solved. Listening is the most effective method of communication. Listening emphatically is one form of listening. This requires a paradigm shift. To accomplish, as you can see, we don't usually try to. The first step is to understand. Instead, we strive to be understood by all. At any given time, the person is either speaking or preparing. Rather than preparing to speak, having an understanding. Communication experts say, we communicate only 10% of the time through email. Words are used to represent. Sound represents 30% of the total. 60% is accounted for by the way we behave, replacing our typical responses with listen emphatically. Eventually, you'll realize that it's not a wise idea. It is necessary to focus on words in order to be truly understood. Get to know the other person. As an alternative, you could observe a conversation based on feelings and meaning. What lies behind the words we speak? What emotions look like without words? While this skill is being conveyed, practice and time, learning is certainly not impossible. The art of emphatic listening. As soon as you master the skill of seeking, you will be able to. Having a clear understanding will enable you to be more present. I understand. Having a true understanding of each other, we are able to communicate adequately with this person. Build on our ideas by presenting them in a constructive manner. Credibility and trustworthiness, instead of tearing the other person apart. Towards the bottom. Synergize is habit number 6 in chapter 7. We live in a world where everyone is different. If we all live together, the world will be a pretty boring place. As a result, we were unable to learn from each other. In relation to each other, it is imperative for us to work together. As we discussed in the previous chapter, listening and understanding each other, communicate effectively with others. It will be easier for us now to work together. Through the concept of teamwork, we can help one another, putting into action. Having each other's backs is a fundamental principle, the ability to thrive as well as the ability to be independent. An interdependent world requires interdependence, interactions that are productive, taking into account and valuing perspectives that differ from our own. Synergies are created when you create an opportunity. Synergy refers to the combination of two or more things. There will be a more intense emphasis placed on each individual. Individuals will be less affected if they remain the same, a self-sufficient entity. Alternatively, two heads are better than one. The first, individuals think differently. However, everyone has something to offer. Make a positive impact on society. The ability to synergize allows you to open yourself up to new possibilities. A world of endless opportunities awaits you. Various options. You can listen to one thing at a time with synergy, understanding another's differences and determining how to resolve them. Taking on a shared challenge together. Taking on challenges. What is the most effective way to get started? For your team to synergize, the first two habits are the most influential. When considering a win-win situation, think about understanding others' perspectives. Yours, diverse perspectives are valued by appreciating them. Every individual has their own opinions and beliefs. Building something meaningful is possible. For instance, you are better than yourself. It takes more than one person to make a successful movie. Identify an individual. Consider films such as Lord of the Rings or Star Wars. Without a team of creators, there would be no Star Wars. Writers and designers, it would be impossible for movies to be made. The way they live their lives. There are strengths and weaknesses in every team member. Their contributions to the table are invaluable. Contribute to the overall success of the project. Taking mental and emotional health into account. People have different psychological characteristics. It's time to start creating and synergizing. There is something bigger than you could ever imagine, invented by you. Understanding these differences and beginning to value them. Patience and time are required, especially when your life is filled with people you care about. Relationships aren't working. It might be a wise idea to get along with each other. Differentiate yourself from that person. What is the most effective way to open yourself up? Based on these differences, make a list of people you want to reach out to. There's no getting along with each other. Identify just one person and determine how to deal with him or her. There is a difference between their views and yours. What can you do to find synergy between your efforts? The perspectives of both parties. What can you do to be more open-minded and accepting? Embrace their differences with confidence. As part of habit number 7 in chapter 8, sharpen your skills. The saw, knives are used every day by chefs, chopping continuously, making their way through slices and dice. A dull knife. What do they do with the knife when they throw it away? Purchase a brand new one instead of having it sharpened. Our knives must be sharpened, just like a chef's knife. We should also sharpen ourselves. It is a necessity to take time for ourselves, physically and spiritually, by sharpening your mental and social skills. These 4 areas were observed. The results of lasting efforts can be seen. An effective approach. In order to renew yourself physically, you must getting enough sleep and eating well, maintaining a healthy diet and exercising regularly, flexibility, strength, and endurance, maintaining a healthy lifestyle through physical activity. Proactivity. Habit 1 needs to be sharpened. In order to succeed, you must become proactive. Instead of reacting to the situation, focus on your fitness. Exercise resistant forces. Focus on your spiritual side. It does not necessarily mean adopting a particular policy. There is no specific religion. In other words, you should examine it. Take responsibility for your actions and live a life that is meaningful. Spiritual renewal is the goal. Meditation can be part of this process. Taking time to connect with nature or pray. You can benefit from the spiritual dimension. Maintain a habit as well, in light of the fact that you regularly revise the principles and values that guide our actions. Reading is one of the most effective ways to stay mentally healthy. Keep a journal of the fascinating books you read. Observations and reflections. You should limit the number of television programs you watch. Enrich your life by watching those you love. Imagination. In addition to learning a new language, you can also take classes. Become a better learner by taking courses. Enhancing one's life can be done in a variety of ways. Mentally prepare yourself. In addition, mental health should be addressed. Practicing habit 3 will help you develop it, due to the fact that you will be utilizing your time. Maximize your time with time management skills, resources, and information. Finally, you should work on improving your skills, health on a social and emotional level. To develop socially, you must renew yourself. In order to have meaningful relationships, you must. Understanding is key. Contributions are made by others to meaningful causes. A project that improves the lives of others. Aside from that, help others and maintain an abundance mentality. Success is achieved by others. Social and emotional skills can be developed by working on them. You're practicing habits 4 and 5 when it comes to health. By adopting a win-win mindset, we can achieve 5 and 6. Understanding others' perspectives. Finding mutually beneficial relationships. Through synergy, we can find solutions. In case you are wondering what you can do, in order to make these 4 dimensions, we must first make a. Here are some activities that will help you take advantage of each category to renew yourself. Each dimension should be represented by one activity. Make a commitment to complete that task during the week ahead. Evaluate your performance at the end of the week. What led to the performance and what caused it? What makes you successful or unsuccessful? As a final summary, you will become a highly skilled professional. Become an effective person by adopting these traits. A 7-step habit guide. Stop reacting and start being proactive. Implementing a plan. Rather than assuming control, take control. You are responsible for your life. Don't work until you've reached your goals. I work aimlessly on whatever job comes my way. Rather than focusing on the past, consider the future. Make that happen by aligning your actions, bringing your vision to life. Start with the basics and don't waste your time. Prioritize tasks that seem urgent at the moment. You're enjoying the moment, but your goals aren't aligned. Instead, prioritize your tasks and concentrate on them. In the case of non-urgent matters, consider win-win situations when considering high-priority items. Regardless of whether you win or lose, stop thinking that you must. As an alternative, find a solution that benefits both parties. Both parties are satisfied with the solution. Understanding is the first step to becoming. I understand. Don't jump to provide a solution. I am responding. Rather, pay attention emphatically, being aware of other people's feelings. Once you have aligned your ideas, communicate them, taking into account the feelings of others. Don't work independently. Synergize. Make use of other people's expertise instead. Take advantage of what you have around you and create something. You have never created anything on your own. Ensure the saw is sharpened and that it is not overworked. You should instead focus on improving yourself, a mental and physical state. In terms of spirituality and social interaction, the 7 points have been summarized here. A highly motivated individual has the following habits. By Stephen R. Covey. How did you like this summary of the audiobook? Don't forget to click the like button now to show your support. Join the channel by clicking the subscribe button. We'll notify you every time we make a new post. Post a detailed summary of a new audiobook.